Hello, y'all. It's Kaylee. I am back with another episode of Clearly Focused. I'm super excited for this one because it is something that I've been working really hard to achieve, and I'm excited to share with you all the ins and outs and what exactly I've done to be able to work less. It sounds crazy. I don't know if you've even heard of like the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss or even just like 4-day work weeks, but it has been basically proven that working less makes you more productive. And I am here to say I stand by that. I feel like 40-hour work weeks in general are just a lot, but especially when you only get 2 days off, like it's hard to do all the things you want to do or need to do in 2 days. So working 4 days is something that I've done since actually last April. So it's been almost a year now. And I'm very excited to share this episode or share this info with you guys for this episode. If you guys are loving what you're hearing, please give me a review. I would love to see that. Just, you know, when your clients give you reviews and you just feel so good about it and you love to know what you're doing and what you need to improve on, but also, you know, it boosts, especially if it's like a Google review, it like boosts your SEO and pushes this podcast out into more people, so more people will hear about it. So a review would be wonderfully, greatly appreciated. And we are going to have a good time today talking about stuff. It has been a long month. March, I was gone like basically the entire month. I had a few days in between things here and there that I was home, being able to do a little bit of work and do some shoots and stuff, but mostly gone. Some was work trips and some was personal trips. So it was great to see friends and all kinds of stuff, but I am glad to be home and not living out of a suitcase. I'm glad to be able to just refill my water out of the fridge instead of having to like go buy a water from a store. It's the little things, right? The comforts of home. But have you guys ever gotten to the end of the day and you just thought like, damn, I got nothing done and I worked all day long? I can't tell you how many months I've spent doing that, just feeling constantly like I was behind and I knew that something had to change. And so this is how I started implementing schedules and systems into my workflow. And that's created better boundaries for me in my business and even in my personal life. And now I feel like I can accomplish what I need to in a day. So I can walk away from my desk at the end of the day feeling good rather than feeling behind. When I wake up in the morning and I feel ready to tackle the day rather than already feeling behind. And you know what? These systems and structures have actually allowed me to work less. Like I said earlier, it's crazy to think about, but by putting in these like routines and these rules or however you want to word it, I've been able to basically work 4 days a week. Unless I have a wedding, then I'll work on the weekend and stuff too. But isn't that just like crazy to think about? And today I'm going to share with you some of those things that you can do so that you can work less as well. Whether it's a 4-day work week or maybe 6-hour days, you can choose how you want to split it up based on your life and your preferences. But today, our 30 seconds of silence before we get into the episode is going to be we're going to visualize. We're going to spend some time visualizing what this would be like for you. I want you to close your eyes and just imagine what you would do with those extra 2-hour days of each day, or what you would do with an entire day that you don't have to work. Think about what you would do with all that time that you don't have to spend chained to your desk. Would you spend more time with your family? Would you be able to work out more often? Would you have time to pick up a hobby? Just like imagine it, friends, because it can be. Use this time to imagine the best life possible, and then afterwards we're going to talk about how to get there. Okay, I hope that was wonderful for you to imagine. And I just want you to keep that vision in the forefront of your brain as we dive a little deeper into the methods that can help you get there, because I'm not gonna lie, when you start to hear all these things that you need to do in order to achieve that lifestyle, it's gonna feel really overwhelming and like you need to do all the things and you'll never be able to get there. But I promise you will. I promise you. Just implement one thing at a time. Start really small, baby steps. forward progress is better than no progress. So yes, thinking about the big picture, like that mental image that we just created for ourselves, is important when we feel overwhelmed. We bring up that image of us like lounging by the pool or whatever it was with our friends to remind us that setting up these systems and workflows is worth it. Okay? Now let's begin. The first thing I can tell you to do is to set aside specific days of the week or the month to do certain tasks and be very protective over those days. For me, as an example, I batch record podcasts on the first Tuesday of every month. So hello, today's April 2nd. That is when I'm recording this episode. I'm not sure when you'll be listening to it, but today is April 2nd. It is storming like crazy outside. So if you hear the rain or any thunder, I apologize in advance. For me, this just works better because I feel like I'm able to just focus on podcasting all day and I'm not having to split my attention between doing anything else like photography related or admin related. I don't book anything on these days. I don't do shoots. I don't do consultation calls, nothing. So doing something like this, like setting up one day a month and you just literally block it off to do one specific, or maybe like two specific tasks depending on what they are and how long they're going to take you. If I end up not having to using the whole day to do podcasts, which honestly never happens because it does take the whole day to do a month's worth of podcast episodes, I'm usually doing emails or like other back end work or maybe culling or editing, or honestly, I just don't do anything, which like I said, it never happens. I'm usually working the entire day from sun up to sundown, even like later than normal, just because I want to get it all done. And also like the last Friday of every month is when I back up my hard drives to the cloud. So what this could look like for you is maybe it could be the day, like one day a month that you enter your receipts for the month, or you update any spreadsheets that you might have. Like I have some for payments to second shooters or associate shooters. I have a spreadsheet for my mileage. So you could just set that aside to be once a month. That's when you do that kind of stuff. It could be maybe every Monday is your social media planning day. So you sit down on Monday and you plan out the content that you're going to post, or you make the reels that you're going to post for that week. Maybe on Wednesdays is when you do all of your calls. So you can do your timeline calls, your consultation calls, or like maybe do like Mondays are my timeline meeting days and Wednesdays are my consultation meetings. So that way it's just easy to kind of segment those days in your brain. I feel like you're just able to focus a little bit deeper when you're not split between doing a bunch of different tasks. So whatever it is that you find yourself doing a lot of, just try to pick a day to focus on those specific tasks, only because I feel like you get more into like the groove of things and you're able to produce more without actually having to like work hard or expend as much energy. Because to me, switching tasks every 5 minutes or every hour requires just so much brain energy. And just thinking about like, okay, I sent that email, now what do? I gotta cull. Okay. And then as I'm culling, I realize I forgot to put a payment into my expenses. And like that mental process is just so exhausting. So setting aside specific days of the week to do things like that is a game changer. And this can even translate into your personal life. So I do towel Tuesdays. So on Tuesdays, I wash our towels. I do sheet Sunday. So on Sundays, I wash our sheets. It just helps me remember what I'm supposed to be doing so I can stay on track and I can be more efficient with my time. And then, going even more specific with that is like setting aside certain times of the day to do certain tasks. So maybe like 9 to 11, you can block off every day for admin. So every morning you work from 9 to 11 on admin tasks only. So emails, sending contracts, booking studios, responding to messages, that kind of stuff. And then from maybe 11 to 12, you will cull. And then, so for the day, it could be like culling sneak peeks from a session you did previously, or maybe you're culling a section of the wedding and you just gave yourself an hour to cull. And then from 12 to 1, you take a break, maybe you take a walk or work out or read or have lunch. And then from 1 to 2, it's more admin, and that's only an hour, whatever it is. And then I know it's hard because especially when you're first starting out, like let's say it's 10:50 and you just have a few more admin things that you have to do, but you're like, I only have 10 minutes left and I'm not gonna be able to do it in 10 minutes, but my admin block's over at 11 and I'm supposed to switch to culling then. It's tempting to want to finish those admin tasks and just push that time frame back a little bit. But number one, that will just throw your whole day off and then everything else will get behind. And number two, by the time 1 o'clock rolls around and that second admin block comes back, you're gonna have more admin tasks to do by then because the people from this morning are emailing you back. Maybe you've gotten new inquiries during the time that you were culling and taking your break. So just keep those time blocks set, as hard as it might be, just because whatever they look like for you, and stick to them. So some people like to do work in the morning with deep tasks like editing or culling, and then they like to do admin and easy stuff in the afternoon. So whatever you feel like works best for your brain, set your day up like that. Like if it's hard for you to wake up and just like respond to emails and strategize, if you're just like, I'm not there yet, I haven't had enough caffeine, I haven't woken up yet, then do a different type of task in the morning that your brain feels better at, and then save the admin and planning and stuff for the afternoon. So just set up your day however works best for you and try to keep to it. So also, if you're more interested, if you're wanting to learn more about like the deep work versus the shallow work, there is a book called Deep Work by Cal Newport that you could read, and it can give you a little bit more insight onto like what shallow work versus deep work looks like and all that kind of stuff. So each day may vary slightly. Like if you've implemented the first Monday of every week being your social media planning day, then it's not going to have the time blocks that like Tuesday through Friday would have. And maybe there's one day a week that you like to go catch a yoga class because like your favorite teacher teaches on Thursdays. So maybe from like 3 to 4 on Thursday, you take a yoga class, but like that time looks different for you on other days. But just, know that each day might differ slightly, but try to set up that daily or weekly or monthly routine so that you use less brain units to do each task. It's funny because I don't even remember if someone told me about this, like brain units. It's been so long that I've been thinking about it this way. But I like to think about our brain's capacity is we basically have 10 units a day, or whatever your number is. You could say 20 units a day, but I just put 10 because I feel like it's easier. So you have 10 brain units that you get to use each day, and you don't want to use units to do like normal, easy decision-making tasks. Like you don't want to wake up and spend a whole unit on what do I wear, and spend another unit on what do I eat for breakfast, and then another unit for what do I make for dinner, and then another unit for what do I edit first, or do I do admin tasks first? Like you want to wake up and like already know what you're wearing, already know what you're eating, already know what you're having for dinner, already know what you're starting your day with. And so by implementing these schedules and having that like daily time block set up already for you, then you're able to wake up and like have your full 10 units, and you'll feel more energized. You won't be I suffer from decision fatigue is what I say. So I feel like you won't get that as much, but just by being able to separate your day in chunks, or separate your week in chunks, and have routines throughout the month where like each one specific day, each month, you're able to focus on a specific task, then you're going to be able to use those brain units more efficiently towards other projects, especially ones that really require those units, like a complicated timeline that you have to build, and you're like, I only have 1 unit left and I need like 3 units for this timeline because there's so many moving parts or something like that. So another thing that's very important for you to do is make sure that you set aside during your day or your week to get outside. I personally prefer every day. Honestly, I think that's the most, like, it's the healthiest, and I feel like it's just the best. I've seen the most success for me is because my body and brain just like need that much time. They just need to be outside every day. And I like to walk my dog in the morning, and that's how I start my morning off right, is just walking him. It's about a little over a mile walk, and we take our time. We're not like running through it or anything, so it takes us like 40 minutes. And I just feel like we spend so much time staring at a screen, like our computers, our phones, the back of our cameras now, that I just want to give my eyes time to reset. And I just love, like I said, taking him for walks in the mornings is the best way to do this. And it's like quality time with him. And I'm not waking up and immediately having to start work, especially when you work from home. It could be hard to be like, okay, well, I can just literally roll out of bed and go sit at my desk, but that doesn't feel like a healthy routine. So I like being able to like get up and like take him on a walk, get dressed, take him on a walk. And that way he's not looking at me all day with those sad puppy dog eyes, because he's been taken care of as well. So I made it a rule not to look at my phone while I'm walking him. I will admit that occasionally I break that rule because I'll film a hot girl walk video for my TikTok. I don't post those on my Instagram page, but I'll post them on my TikToks. And it's just like a quick hot take type thing. And I make them short and sweet, so they only end up eating out like 5 minutes out of my 40-minute walk. And I don't do it every day or even every week. So it's not like every once in a while I'll break my own rule, but I'm human, okay? But yeah, like I said, even just like, let's say I walk 25 days out of the month and I took like 2 of them to take 5 minutes to do a reel. It's like, okay, that's not terrible. So like just this morning I was walking him and I got to see a lunar moth, which is really cool because it's like so beautiful and special because they only live for a week. And this thing was freaking gorgeous. It was huge. It was like bigger than my hand. It was insane. And Captain got to say hello to his friends. He loves talking to them when we're on our walks, and he's always just like so cute when he's happy, and he's happy when he's greeting them. And then we have this beautiful fluffy yard of grass that he loves to roll around in and just like hang out upside down and look like a goon. And I just love being able to watch him with those real life moments with my actual eyeballs instead of being distracted by a screen. And your brain needs time to process all that information and keep it healthy. Like, obviously a no screen time break is good for mental health, but also your eyes and your brain, like physically, need it too. It's good for their health. And you need to make memories that you can recall by like actually living them, instead of being like, oh, I'm remembering that moment, but I just remember like looking at what was happening on my phone, you know, like I was recording what was happening and I was looking at my phone instead of actually looking at what was happening with my eyes. So just some kind of outside time, some kind of no screen time, whether you meditate or you put your phone away by 8 p.m. every night, or you read a book for 30 minutes before you go to bed, or 30 minutes on your lunch break, or something like that. Like, just something where you're not looking at a screen is really, really huge, and something I just feel like it makes me feel more productive, because I'm not like, every time I pick up my phone to post a reel or like talk to a client or something, I'm not like, oh, I've been staring at this thing all day, you know? So then it just makes you feel like groggy and gross. So definitely setting aside no screen time, outside time, all that good stuff is important. Moving your body, that is also so important. And I promise you, if you build this into your schedule, you will feel so much better. You are producing endorphins and serotonin, which your body needs in order to make you feel happy and excited. And it keeps you from feeling depressed and overwhelmed as easily. Plus, you just like feel better about yourself, because instead of sitting at your desk all day long, you at least had a portion of the day where you were able to move and connect with your body. So I think for me, it also helps me feel more inspired, because I'm listening to what's coming from within. I am able to connect with myself and my body when I'm working out. So I know what my body is telling me, and I have time to focus on myself. And then somehow the creative juices just get flowing, and it feels amazing. We just love, like, obviously when we have those creative juices at sessions, we're like, yeah, like I'm on fire today. This feels great. And I definitely notice that those times come a lot more frequently when I am actually spending time working out and outside and meditating. And if I'm setting those regular habits and actually sticking to them, then I notice that like I'm happier more often. I get more work done. I am just like, I'm creative more. I'm not like bogged down and all that kind of stuff. So very important to be moving your body as much as you can. I know it seems hard to accomplish, especially if it's something that you don't already do. Like if you don't already move your body every day, or go for a walk, or like go outside every day, you're probably thinking, how does me putting more things on my to-do list actually make me work less? And I know it sounds really, really backwards, but like I was just saying, when we're taking care of ourselves, we're increasing our productivity levels. There are literally studies shown that talk about how your productivity levels increase when you work less. That's why everyone, like, especially in Europe, but a lot of people are trying to make the move to do four-day work weeks, because people actually get more stuff done on those 4 days than like 5 days is just too much. And think about how much time people at a normal job walking over to someone's cubicle and talking to them, or like you just go sit in your boss's office or your neighbor's office and sit and chat with them. Like, you know, it might be like 3 hours out of the week that you just spend wasting your time, or like an hour a day, which is like 5 hours a week. So it's like, okay, well, 3 more hours of that useless stuff, like I could have basically had the whole day off. You know what I mean? So when you have a good self-care routine, you can actually concentrate better, you can focus better, focus on tasks and get them done faster. And I just think it's so much easier to be able to have your clear mental health when you're focusing on good health self-care habits. We are creating more energy when we work out to get us through the day and get all of our tasks done. And that's amazing, right? We always need more energy without just having to like down more caffeine. So that's a healthier option. By being outside, we're able to recharge, and that makes us excited to come back to our desks and work, instead of being like, been here all day, like sitting, looking at a screen, like I'm so done with this. We can also reflect on what we need as a human, what we need as a business owner, a wife, a mom, a friend, etc. And we know how to ask for it. We know how to go after it. We know how to say no because we are protective over our routines and what they offer us. We know that we've done all this work to get to where we are, where we're like, hey, I'm able to work 4 days a week. And the reason I do it is because I have very strict schedules throughout the week. So if someone's like, hey, come work at my house for the day, it's like, oh, I mean, maybe, but if I can't stick to my normal blocks that I need to get stuff done, then I'm going to get behind and then my whole week's going to get thrown off. So it can be a lot, but if it feels still overwhelming to you, I have one word for you: outsourcing. And I know it might seem scary and you probably hear it all the time. And I know honestly, the first thought that comes to people's mind most of the time is money. And then the second is just the control. I don't want to give up control over editing. So it might seem scary, but let me just lay it out for you. I could scream this from the rooftops. In fact, I have been since 2021. Outsourcing tasks that you don't like doing, outsourcing tasks that take time, that they're time consuming, outsourcing tasks that might be a weakness for you, someone else could probably be doing this better. That is such a weight off of your shoulders that you don't even realize you have. Or maybe you kind of know it's a weight on your shoulders, but you will never understand how big of a weight things like that put on your shoulders until you don't have to worry about doing it anymore. And some of those things are things that just have to get done. Editing has to get done. You can't just not edit. So, but you're scared to outsource it, and I get it. So some things like blogging and Pinterest, they're not necessarily necessary for your business, but they do help a lot. And they might take a lot of time and energy and mental units, your brain units, to do. But if you are able to outsource it, then do it. Freaking do it. Let me put this into perspective for you. Let's take outsourcing editing, for example, because that is I feel the biggest thing that we always struggle with, because editing takes up so much more time than we expect, and that any people expect really. It's oh, yeah, a shoot is 30 minutes, but do you know how long it takes to edit? It's so much longer. So I use Honest Editors. I have been using them since 2021, and they are amazing. And I just looked at their website today. It is 38 cents a photo. So if you deliver a gallery that has 150 images, that is only $57 to have them edit that gallery. And it's actually less than that because you have to edit your sneak peeks or your reference photos for them so that they can edit the rest of the images based off of those edits. So let's say you edit 15 of those for reference photos for them. That's going to bring the total down from 150 images to 135 images. So that's going to be times 38 cents an image. That's only $51.30. 52 freaking dollars for them to edit that entire gallery for you. Let me ask you this. Would you rather sit at your desk for 2 hours in the dark editing these photos, or would you rather pay $52 and go sit by the pool with your best friend? Would you rather stay up late and stare at a screen and copy paste the same edits on an image over and over again, or pay $52 and go to bed early and get a good night's sleep? I know what my answer would be. With weddings, I get that it's a little bit more expensive. It's still 38 cents a photo, but there's just more of them, so it adds up. But again, I will ask you, how long does it take you to edit an entire wedding gallery? Maybe 2 whole work days at least, 16 hours. I don't know about you, but I can't just sit there for 2 solid work days and only work on editing that one wedding. I'd go insane. And maybe it takes you longer or shorter. I don't know anymore because I don't edit my weddings. I haven't edited them since 2021. So I don't really know how long it takes me to edit a wedding because I don't sit down and edit an entire wedding from start to finish. But if it takes you 2 days, I feel like that's a good average amount. Some might take less, some might take more. But if you deliver 900 images for a wedding gallery, then at 38 cents a photo, that is $342. Again, it's less than that because you've already edited, whether it's some sneak peeks for the client or some reference photos for the editors, which you have to edit some reference photos for the editors. So you'll have those at least, but that won't count towards the 900 images that you have to pay to edit. If you've edited 100 of them, then you will have only 800 photos that you're paying for. So would you rather pay $342 to have someone else edit your weddings and then you have 2 whole days or however long it takes you to get back into your week that you can be working on fun projects or back burner projects, or heck, even like take on more clients if that's something that you want, or even just not like just not do anything and just chill and have more personal time. Like, isn't it worth paying $342 to avoid that burnout from constantly staring at a screen at this wedding gallery that you're just like so ready to get sent off, and then you're just hating your job, you're hating your life, and then you get really burnt out and you never want to edit again. But guess what? You have another wedding to start on as soon as you sent that one off. So it's just like a never ending cycle. I can't tell you, like, again, the weight of being able to, like, I'm just like my clients. Like, I am so excited to come home and edit my sneak peeks because I'm excited that, like, we had a great session, we had a great time, like the lighting was great, they were so fun, whatever. I'm excited for them to see their photos. And then literally after I send their sneak peeks, the excitement dies. I'm like, oh, okay, now it's like a chore. It sounds bad. Like, it's never like I hate doing this, but it's just like it's a chore for me to edit the rest of the photos. I'm not excited to edit the rest of the photos. I edited like the 20 photos that I was excited to edit, and now I don't want to do it again. I don't ever want to see that gallery again. So it is so nice to be able to just send, after I do the sneak peeks, like I'll get approval from the people. They're like, oh my gosh, they look so good. And then once I get that email or text or whatever, then which is usually that same day, so the next morning I will upload my photos to Honest Editors and never have to look at it again until they send it back to me. So I don't even have to think about it. And usually they can get that gallery back to me in like 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, whatever. Weddings are longer than 3 days, but it also just depends on the time of the year. But still, like, I couldn't edit that gallery, that 150 photo gallery, in 3 days because I've got 3 other sessions I have to do. I have to record podcasts. I've got consultation calls I have to do. Like, it's going to take me longer than 3 days, but it's also like $52, so I don't have to worry about doing it anymore. So that's really nice. And then all I do is when the photos come back, I just kind of scroll through them one by one, make sure they all look good. Sometimes if I'm feeling really artsy, I will add like an artsy crop, like really crop it in tight and like maybe add some more grain or something like that, just to be creative. But that's what makes me excited to edit, because I'm doing fun things. I'm doing fun editing. I'm not like doing the normal basic boring copy, paste, straighten, copy, paste, straighten, copy, paste, straighten. It is so nice to be able to do that. And if it is not financially something that you are not ready to do right now, I totally get it, because I was there too. But I'm going to talk a little bit more about that because there's a few things I have to say. So if financial reasons is what's holding you back from outsourcing any source of any task, but we're still going with the editing for now. Just raise your prices to compensate for it. Even if it's not like the full amount, like you don't raise your session prices by $50, just raise them by $25, or adding $200 to your wedding package instead of $350. Like, it might not cover the whole cost of editing, but it's going to compensate for a little bit about it. But what I want you to think about is that you're getting so much time back. So like, yes, you might be losing a little bit more money, but you're getting your time back. And that is a non-renewable resource. You will run out of time. But I mean, you could potentially run out of money, but essentially the mental thought process here is that your energy and your time is way more valuable than money, right? And so if you can pay a little bit more to have someone else take something off of your shoulders in order for you to be happier, be less stressed out, have more time with your family, have more personal time, like pick up a hobby, like whatever it is, like that is what you have to think about. Is like, yeah, I might be losing, even if you don't raise your prices, but I might be losing $300 every wedding because I'm having someone else edit it for me, but like I'm getting so much more time back. I'm not chained to my desk for 40 hours. So instead of like an 8-hour wedding day actually taking you 40 hours of work, have you seen those posts where they actually like calculate out how much time they actually spend for an 8-hour wedding, between like, if you added up all the hours you spent between like the calls, the emails, the engagement shoot, the editing for that, driving, all the things, and then just like think about how many hours that is. And if you take editing off of that, you might see yourself like 18 hours of work. So you're getting so much more free time back by not even having to edit. So anyways, yeah, I could talk about outsourcing your editing forever. When I have friends that finally do it, they're like, oh my God, I'm not stressed like ever anymore. Or I actually have time to do things for myself now. Or hey, I'm not missing deadlines anymore. Or like all the above. They could be experiencing all three of those things. I do have a code if you guys want to use it, and you can try out Honest Editors for 25% off your first order. And I'm going to link it in the show notes for you guys. But Honest Editors, what I love about them is like, yes, it is a company, but you are paired with the same editor each time. So they can come to expect like what your preferences are, and you build kind of a relationship with the one person, even though it's like a team. You're not paying like an individual person, you're paying a company, but it's one person that's editing your photos. And I know that lack of that control issue is hard for a lot of people, but they're not sending the photos directly to the clients. Like you still get to look at the photos before they send the client, so you can double check like what they did is going to look right. But as long as you're editing your reference photos the way that you want the rest of the galleries to be edited, then it's pretty spot on. And just make sure that when you're getting galleries back from editors, not just Honest Editors, but any editors, if you tell them feedback and say, hey, these are a little bit too underexposed for me, or like, hey, I want everything cropped a little more centered or something like that, they're going to listen to that. And so then next time when they edit a gallery, they will keep that in mind and be like, oh yeah, she likes things centered. And so each time it's just going to get better and better and better. So back to outsourcing, maybe it's not editing, but it's other tasks like blogging or Pinteresting, tasks that take you a really long time to do, pay someone else. Tasks that you don't enjoy doing, pay someone else. That way you're still happy in your job and you don't have to groan every time you sit down at your desk to do like Pinteresting, something that you hate doing. If there's something that takes a long time for you to do, like social media, or like you can hire a social media manager, something that you don't enjoy doing. If you're like, I don't want to think about a social media strategy, then just make someone else do it. And I know firsthand how scary it can be to commit to paying someone maybe like $1,000 a month to do something for you, because you're like, wait, I need that money. Like, I don't want to pay someone $1,000 a month. I want to keep that $1,000 a month. But I promise you, not only will you feel 1,000 times better, but the money will work itself out in other ways. It always does. Whether it's by raising your prices, like I mentioned earlier, to kind of compensate for some of the things that you're outsourcing, whether it's paying for an assistant or paying for a social media manager or paying for someone to do some blogs for you. You might raise your prices. You might get more inquiries because your social media manager or your Pinterest person is doing a good job and you're actually like getting that SEO inquiries coming in your inbox. Or just because you have more time now, you can take on more jobs. You know, like think about those 2 whole free days that you have that you don't have to spend editing a wedding anymore. Yeah, you can take them off and just like not do anything, or you can shoot a couple sessions. You can plan a mini session just because you know you don't have to spend 2 days editing a wedding. I promise you it will work out one way or another. So yeah, those are a few ways that you can work less by implementing different strategies and systems in your workflow. It seems like a lot. I warned you. But honestly, it is all worth it in the end. So keep up the good work. And we're going to see you next time, folks. Again, leave a review if you guys are loving this. And also know that my DMs are always open if you have any questions about any of this stuff, or if you just need to like rant or anything. You can message me on my photography podcast, or I have a podcast now for this. You can message me on my photography Instagram, or you can message me on my podcast Instagram, which I just recently started to be sharing more bits and pieces, sharing some video clips and that kind of stuff throughout the week, as to just like benefit more from just the once a week podcast. We're going to break it up into smaller chunks for you. So follow along with all that. I'm very excited to see where that page goes. Share with your friends and tag me in it if you're posting any like, oh, I'm listening to Kaylee's podcast, like tag Clearly Focused. It's at Clearly Focused Pod on Instagram. But yeah, I'm very excited. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and we are going to chat next time. Bye.